In the Express, page 5, a bit of a kiss me Kate.
Yeah, this is great. So obviously a very serious time over there, remembering tragic events. But this was one of the lighter moments. I think William and Kate often do that. I think they bring a lightness to events with their humour. The fact that they're young and. There's a lot of kind of banter between Will and Kate. Obviously, if you look kind of behind the scenes, sometimes you can see them exchanging funny looks, and you get a little insight into their relationship. But this was an 88-year-old guy called Arthur Jones who decided to try his luck. He was at a tea party. They were meeting with 50 veterans and actually spending some quality time with them. And he went up to Kate and said, "Would it be okay to kiss a princess?" And he said he'd lost his wife 10 years ago. He didn't get many kisses anymore. And so she gave him a kiss, and then apparently William strolled up and he said, "You tried to chat up my wife." So the 88-year-old Arthur was going, yeah, I am having a go. So I just love these kind of stories that give you insight into the kind of things that go on behind the scenes and what great sports William and Kate are.
Yeah, and these veterans, they are cheeky chappies, aren't they?
Well, they were dancing on the streets yesterday, weren't they, and high-fiving people that had come out to see them. They really enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely once in a lifetime for many of them.
Yeah, lots of difficult memories for them. Obviously, a sad time, but also I think they sort of remember the camaraderie and the support that they received, so they're able to celebrate as well.
Yeah,
they've
got a fantastic spirit, haven't they?
They have.
Yeah. The Sun now, Kevin, you're looking at this story, political story, and it's about Nigel Farage, how the, well, not defeat, because they did come second, but really perhaps not doing as well as they'd hoped for in Newark, is all down to their leader.
Yeah, well, it's a case of sort of what a difference 2 weeks makes, almost, if you remember, after the European elections, UKIP and Nigel Farage in particular riding high on the crest of a wave, and he himself proclaimed they were going to march on Newark. That was going to be the next scalp that they were going to take. Now, Nigel Farage himself, there was a lot of speculation that he would stand as the candidate. He chose not to. Roger Helmer, quite a controversial right-wing MEP, stood instead, and he has come out yesterday on the back of the defeat and said that actually would have helped his chances a lot more if Nigel Farage had bothered to come down or go up to Newark himself. He thinks that would have been worth a few more thousand votes for him. So it's quite interesting now that the focus is more on UKIP, that they're now sort of facing the same challenges that other political parties do, sort of internal splits, pressure on the leader when the results don't quite go as expected. And it's just a question of whether the European election were the sort of high watermark of UKIP's popularity, and whether this is a sign that they can do OK, but in terms of first past the post electoral systems, maybe they won't be able to get enough support.
And Kevin, do you think if Nigel Farage had stood himself in Newark that we'd have a very different scenario?
I think it would have been closer. Whether Nigel Farage himself could have stood up to that intense sort of by-election scrutiny, I'm not too sure. Obviously, there was a bit of controversy through the week of him, what he was up to in Malta.
It would have been so damaging for him if he'd stood and lost, though, wouldn't it?
Well, that was the other thing. I think that was clearly why
I thought he'd be willing to do that. I think he comes
do
across as incredibly confident, but to take that kind of a hit. And I'm not totally sure I agree with Roger Helmer that if Nigel Farage had spent more time there, it would have gone better. I mean, I think he's quite a Marmite person, and I think that actually him showing up more could have been equally as bad or as good for the campaign.
He does draw the crowd.
He does, but I think he also really irritates people. So I think him being around is not necessarily, a golden ticket to more people voting. It could actually be putting some people off.
And what's also interesting is apparently there was a lot of tactical voting by Labour and Lib Dem voters who were actually voting Tory in order to keep UKIP out. So again, if Nigel Farage had been standing, that would probably even have been higher, actually. So yeah, perhaps not.
Yeah, not very straightforward, quite complicated business. Kevin and Vicky, thank you for the moment. We're going to take a break. Coming up, more papers, including the strange headache that's proving a real pain for one British. Still with us, taking us through the choices of the morning's papers. We've got Kevin and Vicky, and we're having a look. This one's yours, Vicky. This is in The Guardian. This is a story about Rebecca Adlington. Still the problem she's getting from troll abuse.
Yeah, so she's obviously one of Britain's most successful sportswomen. She's a double gold Olympic swimmer, and you'd think that in her career she would be able to just sit back and enjoy the joy of all her achievements, but it's really been overshadowed for her by the abuse she's had on Twitter, and people have been incredibly nasty to her about her appearance, about different aspects of her swimming, and one of the harshest things they said was she actually let down the UK when she got a bronze in 2012, which is ridiculous because to get a bronze medal at the Olympics is so impressive. She's saying in this piece that the trolling is continuing, but the thing that really disturbs her is that about 20% of it is from other women. And she's just saying in this piece that women really need to stick together, especially when it comes to comments about appearance. And there just shouldn't be any room, she feels, kind of in the sisterhood, to take each other out. And she said she can just about deal with the 80% that comes from men, but when it comes from women, she said
that's
that
really
just
disheartening.
really
Very, very sad story. We've just got time for one more. This is yours, Kevin. This is in the Mirror. Very rare condition that this woman's suffering from.
Yes, this poor woman, Julie Matthias from Chatham in Kent, had a migraine, and a particularly bad one, and then afterwards she ended up speaking in several foreign accents, and it's completely stumped doctors. She's one of only 60 people in the entire world with foreign accent syndrome, and now she speaks a whole range of accents, as I say, including French, Italian, South African,
Does she choose
Chinese.
when they happen or not?
No, I think it's a kind of purely an involuntary
Very rare
thing.
condition and probably quite distressing.
Yeah,
Kevin and Vicky, for the moment, thank you very much. We're going to see what's happening with the sport now with Ed.